Well, good evening, everybody. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to the Albany County Commission meeting, farewell to summer edition, September 19th, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and Commissioner Jones.
Present.
Commissioner Ibarra.
Here.
Commissioner Gosar also here. Item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3, a public hearing. We don't have a public hearing. Item 4, comments from the public. And if you're gonna make a public comment, would you just state your name? And if you're not from Albany County, if you just tell us where you're from, but if you're from Albany County, you don't need to restate that. So we'd open up the floor in person first, and then we'll go online. Any public comments? Hey, good evening, Denisa. Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners. I'd like to introduce you to Emily Hoff. She is our new sustainability efficiency intern, and she's going to start with the county on the 26th. So I'll turn it over to her, give her a few minutes to introduce herself. And
Yeah, hi, I'm Emily. I'm originally from Parker, Colorado, so just a little bit south of Denver. And me and my boyfriend just moved up here. He got into grad school, so we're in Laramie for the foreseeable couple of years. And I'm excited to help the county move in a little bit of a more sustainable direction and get started.
Nice.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Emily, thank you. And the starting date will be
September 26th, so Tuesday, a week from today.
starting for a week from Tuesday. Thank you, Emily. Welcome.
See you then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good to
Glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Any other public comments here? All right, nobody online. Commissioners, I entertain a motion to close the public comment.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all's in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Hi. Hi.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 5, disclosures. Commissioner Ibarra.
I have none.
Commissioner Jones, any?
Well, I'll say none that I know of.
Okay, and I also have none. Item 6, considerations of changes on the agenda. Hey, look at there, no changes on the agenda.
Serious?
Yay. Item 7, approval of the consent agenda. I'd entertain a motion for that item.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all is in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. That moves us to the regular agenda, item 8. And the item is take from the table minutes of the August 15th, 2023 County Commission meeting. So this was moved to the table at the last meeting. And Jennifer?
I have a bit of an explanation, Commissioner, if I may.
Sure, please.
So after the last meeting, when Commissioner Jones asked that we remove the executive session minutes, I had a chance to speak with her. And generally, Commissioner Jones was objecting to the contents of part of the discussion of the executive session meeting from that August 15th meeting. So after talking with Kayla and reviewing the minutes from that meeting, there was discussion in executive session that shouldn't have been, and it was regarding Boswell Road. There was no action that was taken in the meeting. It was a discussion. So in looking at all of the statutory things, usually what happens is when there's an objection as to something in executive session, then that item the objection is noted within the executive session, and the item is either moved to the public agenda as an item, or the objection is noted for the record, and then that carries on for whoever made the objection. So after talking with Kayla and Commissioner Jones, we moved a discussion item from exec to the August 15th minutes right after the executive session minutes. There's now an item in the minutes that says a discussion about Boswell Road. That's that item that we moved out of there so that we did not have anything in executive session that was not in compliance with the requirements for holding an executive session.
Thank you, Jennifer. Commissioners, any questions for Jennifer? All right. Well, thank you so much for doing the research. And Terry, thank you for keeping us on our toes and in compliance. I appreciate that. And so I entertain a motion to take it from the table, and then we'll do number 9 and do either approve it or not approve it.
I move that we remove from the table the minutes of the August 15, 2023 County Commission meeting minutes. A second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 9 follows along. Present for approval minutes of the August 15, 2023 County Commission meeting. Jennifer, anything more to add to that?
Nothing unless there are questions.
Any questions, commissioners? If not, that entertain a motion for item 9, please.
I move that we approve the minutes of the August 15, 2023 County Commission meeting. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, please. That motion carries. Item 10, present for approval, release of county's mortgage on Safe Projects real property located at 317 to 319 Lincoln Street, Laramie, Wyoming. Jennifer, thank you.
You're welcome, Commissioners. So this dates back in 2010. Safe Project had a grant from the state, and as part of that grant, the funds came to the county, and then we distributed them to Safe. Safe took out a mortgage when they received the funds, the grant funds. They paid that mortgage off. And they reached out earlier, I think in August, to ask about release of that mortgage because it had not been released. So I did call over to the state and talk to them, and the file is more than 7 years old, so they don't have it on record anymore. But they said, because I wanted to verify the obligation had been satisfied and there wasn't anything else we needed to do, they said, since they no longer have it on record, it must have been satisfied without issue. So today in front of you, you have the release so that Safe can move forward with some additional things that they're doing with their property without having that mortgage on there.
Commissioners, thank you, Jennifer. Any questions? If there are no questions, I entertain a motion for 10, please.
I move that we approve item 10 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all of those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Jennifer. Item 11, present for approval. Approach license for James and Vicky Gerald on County Road number 211, Satanka Road, Laramie, Wyoming, located in the northeast quarter of section 22, township 15 north, range 73 west. Rob, good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. Geralds are in the process of getting permits for they want to build a principal structure on some property. And they needed access to that property off of Satanka Road, which is out by Solar Springs Road. So I've looked at it and everything looks good. So,
If there's any questions for Rob?
No.
Not entertain a motion for item 11, please.
I move that we approve item 11 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, please. The motion carries. Item 12, present for approval, approach license for Kristen R. Thomason on County Road 51, Two Rivers Road, Laramie, Wyoming, located in the west half of section 23, township 17 north, range 74 west. Rob, again, please.
yeah, this kind of lately been the hot spot as far as approaches. The third one. So it's approach so they can start a structure off of Two Rivers Road.
Commissioners, any questions for Rob? I entertain a motion for item 12 then. There are
I
none.
move that we approve item 12 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, please. That motion carries. Item 13, present for approval, invitation to bid for 2023 140-15 all-wheel drive or equivalent motor grader and direct the clerk to advertise. Wow, please.
As you know, we try and keep our motor graders on a warranty schedule. In the past, it's been 7 years. This is the one we got here not too long ago. We were able to make it 9 years. But anyway, this motor grader here is 7 years and it is coming off of warranty. So like approval to bid.
Find a new home.
Yeah.
All right, commissioners, any questions? I'd entertain a motion for item 13 if there are none.
I move that we approve item 13 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, please. That motion carries. Item 14, present for approval, application to the United States Department of Transportation for the fiscal 2023 Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods RCN program, with the continuation of data collection, design, and right-of-way acquisition for Albany County Skyline Drive connection, the city of Laramie's 30th Street extension, and current west skyline redesign, and creation of a new bridge interchange over Wyoming Department of Transportation's I-80. Rob, please.
Just a reminder, Terry, this is gonna have some of your property in it, so.
Thanks for the reminder. Now you know I said what I said.
Yeah. This is a reconnect application and when we started, originally we started with the raised grant trying to get Skyline established on the south side of Interstate 80 and connect Vista and to 18th Street. And through the process, when we didn't get that one, Bailey kind of in the reconstruction or the recon or whatever you want to call it on that, found out that maybe that project wasn't big enough. And the Reconnect is a program that would involve the county, YDOT, and the city of Laramie. And this is just for the planning purposes. And that was one of the things also, I think with the Skyline project, we didn't have the plans to bring forward. So I think they're a little bit leery of maybe going forward with that. So this time we decided to maybe put the horse ahead of the cart and do a planning project. So basically, like I say, this involves, it's a Reconnect grant, involves the city from 30th Street to the interstate. YDOT would be the 30th exchange, which basically would be another exit off of I-80 at that area. And then over to our side, which would be Skyline, which should connect not only Skyline to Vista and 18th Street, it would also connect it to 30th Street. So there'd be a nice access across the 30th Street. So long range plans, but this is the planning project for that. So we would be ready to be shovel ready or whatever, however you want to word it, when we apply for the next process or the next stage of the grant.
Thank you, Rob. Any questions for Rob?
And Rob, this stage of the grant required all these letters of support.
We've, I think there's just, we've received some. I think there's still a few out there. But,
Yeah, you've got
we've
it.
received one from YDOT.
And Bailey did say, I think today, that she received a couple additional letters of support after the packet went out as well.
So.
Yeah, well,
And this grant has a 20% match to it. That is going to be picked up by the state if they approve it. So that's kind of the crutch right now, is hoping the state will pull up the match. And we'll know more about that, I think.
By next week.
Yeah, Bailey's, this grant's due the 28th, I believe, and Bailey was going to contact them at the end of the week. And
if we don't have the match from YDOT, they will not be submitting the grant because the match from YDOT is substantial.
Oh, I bet. Just on the overpass itself.
right, yeah.
right. Well, I really do appreciate you, Rob, and you, Jennifer, and Bailey for working with the city, the YDOT, to get a really big project done.
Yeah, I
hopefully get it.
you know, it would take some time, but eventually it would be, you know, it would connect a lot of communities and open up a lot of development areas for both commercial and, you know, residential. So,
Well, if we run 30th, we can get 30th Street run down to Pope Springs.
yeah,
That is an absolute game changer.
yeah.
All right, well, I'd entertain a motion for item 14 if there are no other questions.
I move that we,
You can't.
No.
oh, that's fine.
I was just gonna say, I think.
Okay, I move that we approve item 14 as presented.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign, please. And those abstaining. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Rob. And then item 15, present for approval, letter of support to the United States Department of Transportation for the fiscal year 2023 Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods RCN program for the city of Laramie's West Laramie and West Side Reconnected Project. Kayla, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is a letter of support for the city's planning grant for their West Side and West Laramie alternate transportation grant, correct? And Sue, I think you were in on the meeting too, is what Bailey told me, but that this, the barriers that they're indicating is the interstate and the railroad tracks. So, but this is theirs to expand transportation into the West Side, correct? Okay, so it's a letter of support for that grant, so.
Thank you, Kayla. Commissioners, any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for item 15, please.
I move that we approve item 15 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 16, present for approval agreement between the Albany County Government and Tough Guys Landscaping and Lighting for the annual snow removal agreement at 3821 Beach Street in an amount not to exceed $5,775 even from October 1st, 2023 through April 30th, 2024. Kayla.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this is the annual agreement that we use for Tough Guys to do the snow removal up at the Beach Street property. And that money comes out of the revenue recapture fund. So,
Is that all parking and sidewalks? Is that
yeah, it's the whole.
okay?
the whole
So
gamut.
how's that gonna work when we don't have recapture money anymore in that building?
Well, hopefully we will be in it, so then it'll fall upon the county to do that.
So
So
we're losing recapture money is what. my-
we will, once, if that building gets turned into a county building, yes, it will be.
But saving on 7 roofs.
Correct.
And rental, and I like the switch. So, thank you.
Yep.
I'd entertain a motion for item 16, please. Then, please.
I move that we approve item 16 as presented. I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you.
17, present for approval agreement with the Hilton Garden Inn, Laramie, on behalf of the Albany County Historic Preservation Board for group catering agreement for the Wyoming Preservation Conference in June of 2024. Jennifer.
So Karen Bard was unable to be here tonight but she did provide an email. So the Hilton is giving them a government room rate on 15 rooms, which will save them $50 a room and $750 on tax, plus the conference cost. This grant is guaranteed by SHPO since it's their conference, but Laramie is the host city for this year. Do you have this email? And I don't need to read it to you, or do you want me to read it to you? Sorry, I didn't look to see if it was in your packet or not. The Preserve Wyoming Conference has not been held since 2017 because of funding, but SHPO does have money coming in 2024 in reserve from previous years. The conference itself is a day and a half in June, the first weekend of June, with an optional field trip post-conference. And the grant will be covering 2 dinners, free registration, and the hotel expense for all CLG members who attend. So that simplifies paperwork for SHPO and putting on the conference. And they hope to continue it on a biennial basis going forward. There's no funding that's required from the county. The in-kind 40% matches through volunteer time of the attendees. And they're hoping that there'll be about 50 members at the conference. SHPO is excited about it going forward because they need to update their strategic plan, and this is a start in them being able to do that.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any questions for Jennifer? I entertain a motion for 17 if there are no questions.
I move that we approve the agreement with Hilton Garden Inn on behalf of the Albany County Historic Preservation Board for group and catering agreement for the Wyoming Preservation Conference in June 2024.
Your second,
Second?
it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, please. That motion carries. Thank you, Jennifer. 18% for approval, Highway Safety Program Fiscal 2024 Sub-Award Agreement between the Wyoming Department of Transportation Highway Safety Program and the Albany County Sheriff's Office for impaired driving, high visibility enforcement overtime. Sheriff Avalanche, good evening.
Good evening, commissioners. This is becoming to be our yearly sub-award from the Wyoming Department of Transportation through HIDA, or I'm sorry, not HIDA, NHTSA, for high visibility enforcement. And I believe this one is for impaired high visibility enforcement overtime, so DUI.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions for Sheriff Avalanche? Not, I'd entertain a motion for 18, please.
I move that we approve item 18 as presented. Second?
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. And motion carries. 19% for approval, Highway Safety Program Fiscal Year 2024 Sub-Award Agreement between the Wyoming Department of Transportation Highway Safety Program and the Albany County Sheriff's Office for occupant protection, high visibility enforcement overtime. Aaron, again, please.
Yes, this is again our yearly award from YDOT and NHTSA. This sub-award is for occupant safety, so seatbelt and speed enforcement.
Commissioners, any questions? Not, I'd entertain a motion for 19, please.
I move that we approve item 19 as presented. Second?
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. 20, present for approval, request for the proposal for mental health treatment providers to provide mental health support, individual and or group therapy for participants in the Albany County Sheriff's Office Critical Incident Mental Health Support Program and direct the clerk to advertise. Aaron, please.
This is the same as we had our last about our last month. Unfortunately, we didn't receive any bids on it, so we're re-advertising it to go out to bid.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions? Not, I'd entertain a motion for item 20, please.
I move that we approve item 20 as presented. Second?
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, commissioners.
21, present for approval, agreement with Xerox for printer services and supplies. Now we're getting into the stuff. Now it's gonna get critical around here. We're talking printers.
Printers,
Yeah.
everyone's.
Hang on.
Yeah,
The
what everyone
attendance-
has to have, and I don't want to see any more of.
Yeah, online attendance is gonna spike when we start talking printers.
Man, so this is the same agreement, a better agreement with Xerox Luan that we had previously. If you're not aware of the situation that has occurred, essentially when we renewed and redid the fleet for the large format printers, the small printer contract was inherently canceled. I have kind of piggybacked us on supplementals. We haven't been paying for any support, but we have been receiving kind of sporadically toner and maintenance supplies. This contract is a duplicate of the other one, but due to the pain and suffering of myself as we struggled through this, I said, no, we got to do better. So they've upped our quantity as well as lowered our rates, as well as the monthly charge set. It's a pooled set across all of the essentially small format printers. Any questions I can answer related to this?
Thumbs up.
Thank you.
Does that make you the admiral of the printer
No,
fleet?
please don't.
It does. We got a printer bill in our office for repair and I just forwarded it along to Adam. I'm like, that, I know where that goes. It's not me.
Admiral.
This is like a 5-month struggle, but I'll be very happy when this is put to bed.
All right, does somebody want to make a motion to put Adam down on the printer?
I move that we approve the agreement with Xerox for printer services and supplies. Second?
That's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same side. That motion carries. 22, present for approval, quote from SSA Technology for the renewal of our email security gateway in the amount not to exceed $47,016.17. Adam, again, please.
Yes, so this is everyone's favorite call to my office as to, hey, do you have something that may have gotten stuck in the, they say firewall, but they say the email gateway and so on and so forth. Giving you some statistics over what the gateways provided us over the last, most of these are over the last 6 months. It's processed and provided protection over 1,000 threats. This false positive reading is down to 0.006, with nearly 100,000 emails scanned and facilitated. In that time, incidents, so an incident is a base either through their AI interface, it captures it on its own and creates an incident, alerts us and takes automated measures from there to protect us, or when our users follow their cybersecurity training and submit an email, that also creates an incident. Of that, there were 167 in the last 6 months, averaging roughly, what's that average, about 45, 50 a month, and 708 threats remediated through those services over the last 6 months. So this is by far the largest flex of security that we have in the organization, one of which I ask that we continue forward. The new package adds some features. We're not taking advantage of all of those features, but when it comes down to purchase set, the a la carte or trying to pick out what we need ended up being much more expensive than just taking the total package and negotiating the total package. So we have some new flexibility. We're gaining great visibility into our cloud infrastructure, SharePoint, OneDrive, a lot of things that are going in that directive, and that'll give us our data classification as well as some remediation ability in that form. But we keep our archiving, everything that we've used for our FOIA responses and collection, what used to take my office a week or two to navigate through, cuts us down to a couple hours based on our searchability. That was one of the big headaches when I first came on here. So I just asked that we look at renewal of this. There's a commitment letter in there from Barracuda, the vendor, submitting that this is the best pricing available to anyone at this time.
Commissioners, any questions? So did I read it right that Barracuda offered their own product at almost twice what SSA Technology offered for the Barracuda product?
Yeah, that is a direct MSRP quote. You don't normally pay MSRP. Most people will start around a 20 to 25% cut. Ours, as you can see, is well over 50%. I think we're actually closer to the 65% line.
Yeah, it was surprising to me, but.
Yeah.
All right, if there are no other questions, I entertain a motion for 22, please.
I move that we approve item 22 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you guys for the support.
23, ratify lease agreement with Laramie Property Management Group for the properties at 702 Downey Street, number 14, for the use of drug court participant housing, and authorize the director and authorize the Albany County Supervised Treatment Program Director to sign. Sorry.
I was confused for a minute. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I didn't-
I did it.
Oh, Heather, good evening. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. I am here as a part of our adult drug court program. We have provided transitional housing for participants that are coming out of jail or returning back from inpatient treatment. In the past, we have split those funds between a couple different grants. The state opioid response grant for opioid use diagnosis participants, and then also our state quality of life funds. So depending on the participant, we have covered those. Our last participant that we have helped with housing, we usually try and put them up for 30 days at a lower end motel because that's what we can afford. Our last participant, we paid over $1,300 for 1 month in a motel. And that kind of prompted my conversation with Bailey and Jen to see if there was a better, more stable situation that we could come up with, which led to looking for some rental properties for us to be able to lease. We approved it with the funders. The state has the money, or excuse me, the approval for the state opioid funds, and then we contacted the state as well, just to identify that that was okay for our funding. Had Jennifer and Bailey review everything. Once I was able to find a property management company that was willing to work with us in our unique situation, having people in and out, we kind of jumped on the opportunity for a lease, because the properties don't stick around very often or for very long, or very often coming up with what we need. So our first one here is a lease that started in the middle of August to go through the end of June for property at 708 Downing, number 14. It's a 1-bedroom apartment. We have been able to furnish through entirely donations from the community. This has rent. It's at $790 a month is what we're paying. And we have the opportunity to have 2 participants in at a time if we need to. We have it 2 twin beds, furniture for that setup. So potentially we could have up to 2 participants in the residence. We have had 1 steadily since we signed the lease. And so asking for commissioners to ratify and then authorize that lease.
Commissioners, any questions for Heather?
Yeah. Heather, do we often put 2 participants together?
We have not done it before. We are currently at the situation right now that we have to address it this week. We are in the situation that would be 4 participants that are looking for housing. We have, and the next item is to have a second residence in the 1-bedroom. We would not have same sex in the same house. We would have a male house and a female house. And so this is something I did some research on, some sober living situations, some transitional housing. It's very common in those just because of space. We have identified, in addition to the lease, we have an agreement that Jennifer reviewed and signed off on for rules of the house, controlled substances, those kind of things. Having 2 participants in a resident is not ideal. And it would be in kind of a worst case situation.
How long do they usually stay in that housing?
Our plan right now, since all this is kind of brand new, we have about a 30-day, and then we review it as a team. If they need to extend, there's an application process we have them do. During this time frame, they're meeting with the case manager. They're obtaining work during that time. We tie in budgeting so that they know how much they can afford for rent, and then we're house searching. In the past, the longest we've ever paid at a motel was 2 months to help somebody be able to work and save that money. Usually, they're pretty good about being motivated and getting money saved and finding a place. I will say, with ERAP funding gone for housing, Interfaith is out of money. Literally, they've told many people that, and that they can apply back in November. I anticipate that's why we're seeing an increase in people that need housing assistance. And so I would say we would average 30 days, could be up to 2 months.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Yeah.
And Heather, do you anticipate any months that we're going to be paying rent and not have somebody in transition?
My goal would be no, I can't say for sure. But being somewhat flexible, if we have somebody coming in, that's why I like the possibility of having 2 individuals in there. If there's an overlap for a week or 2, that would be, again, the worst case scenario. I don't anticipate having 2 people in long-term or smaller apartments. But I can't say it would never happen. I really hope it doesn't. With, like, at this point, as I mentioned, having 4 people this week that we're trying to juggle with housing, I feel like we're already saving money in the long run versus what we would be paying for motels. The big issue also we had with motels, in addition to the cost, is football games every single motel room is full on weekends. And so we would be able to put up somebody for 5 of the 7 days, and then they would have to leave. And then we would be scrambling to find some place for them to go, which wasn't good for stability.
It's not on their.
Yeah,
And both these residents are actually nicely centrally located in town, so it's not a burden for the
yes,
participants to be getting to work or wherever they need to get.
yes. We very specifically look for in on this side by accessible to treatment and testing and everything.
And I think in doing this too, Bailey and Heather looked at the budget and what they had spent on housing in motels over the last year. And even with paying for the 2 apartments year round, even if there was a month that was vacant, it averages out that they would still spend less on housing, but have more stable housing available.
Well, I think it's great to get them out of motel rooms, absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
And a lot of the unfortunate, that we have heard, because of course, cost wise, we were on the, I'm gonna say lower end of motels, but they weren't at the Hilton. So I gotta throw that out there. There's a lot of drug activity that happens there. We have had, people approached by staff that work there asking if they wanted to use, in addition to, people that are staying there. So having both of these locations are safe, not crime involved situations. So
And both of these are coming out of the same grant.
they're coming out of 2 different grants. So my job will be to manage to have at least one opioid use diagnosis person in the housing at all times. And then the quality of life from the state, every participant qualifies for.
Any other questions? Thank you, Heather. I entertain a motion for item 23 then, if there are no questions.
I move that we ratify the lease agreement with Laramie Property Management Group for the properties at 702 Downey Street, number 14, for the use of drug court participant housing, and authorize the director and Albany County Supervised Treatment Program Director to sign.
See?
You skip a line and then all of a sudden you're like,
Is there a
Well,
second?
that doesn't make
It's a good
sense.
transition.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 24, ratify lease agreement with Laramie Property Management Group for the properties at 508 Garfield number 2 for the use of drug court participant housing, and authorize the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program Director to sign. Heather, please again, thanks.
Thank you. And again, this is our second property, so my entire same spiel. We were just able to secure this property this Monday, and again, entirely furnished by donations from the community. And if everything is hopefully approved, I have some beds to go deliver, and a participant that just got out of inpatient treatment today will be staying at this residence tonight.
Any other questions? Heather, if unfortunately somebody has some recidivism and on the property, is the property manager, I'm sure you were fully aware of that. Did they give you, like, if this happens twice, you're gonna have to find a new place, or? Yeah,
So yes, we have very clear in the lease, as well as the expectations in our agreement with the participants. We have regular walkthroughs, minimum of once a week, that we go through. We have probation in the house. We have talked to them the availability of sheriff's office drug dogs being able to go through. So we have a lot of safeguards in place. Of course, if something unfortunate were to happen, this property management company has been really great about working with me and understanding the population we're working with. So I feel like it would be a conversation we would have and then be able to regroup.
thank you. Any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for item 24, please.
I move that we ratify the agreement, lease agreement with Laramie Property Management Groups for the property at 508 Garfield number 2 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, please. That motion carries. Thank you so much, Heather.
Thanks, Heather.
Great idea.
May I be excused?
Great
You bet.
plus.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. 25, present for approval, invitation to bid for removal and replacement of roofs at 525 East Grand Avenue and 501 East Ivinson Street to direct the clerk to publish. Jennifer,
Oh.
please.
So these are to replace the roof at the courthouse and the IT building across the street. Anthony and Jake have worked with a company, it's in the packet, I think it's called Temco. They came and did an analysis on the roof so that when we sent the invitation to bid out, the bidders that have at least a preliminary idea of what's going on, they're still responsible to come in and follow it up. And the bid is structured so that contractors can bid on one or both of the roofs.
Jennifer, thank you. Commissioners, any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for item 25, please.
I move that we approve item 25 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign, please. That motion carries, and now we can just wait in anticipation with what those bid numbers come back.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Ooh,
Bend over.
right.
They're big ones.
26, present for approval on-site support contract between Albany County and DocuTech Inc. in an amount not to exceed $995 from September 9th, 2023 to September 9th, 2024. Kayla, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is my on-site support contract for my microfilm machine in my land office. So it's just an annual for them to come in and do updates and all the cleanings and everything that needs to be done with it. And it's already budgeted in the IT fund, so.
Commissioners, any questions? Kayla, is that machine and that microfiche going away anytime soon, or?
So this machine, so we had two older ones that we got rid of actually over to.
Lark, we
Over to
donated
Lark.
one to Lark.
Yep, we had two of them in my office actually that we donated to Lark.
Okay.
We did.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know, well, they actually couldn't use theirs, so it was really beneficial. They were out of one. We purchased this newer one. Jackie purchased it probably, I don't know how many years, but it's been a little while. So it's what year?
Before me.
Yeah, so it's been a while, but it's a newer, it's attached to a computer monitor, so it's not like, the old ones where you're running them up on the screen. But we still, our old marriage licenses are still on microfilm. So when we have to pull an old marriage license for a certified copy, we have to pull them off with microfilm. It's kind of to dovetail off that though, Chuck from ArcaSearch came in last week and counted up all of my books so he can give me a new quote for how much it's going to cost to do the rest of my land documents. And I'm also, once that process is done, I'd like to see what it would cost for him to transfer all of my microfilm from marriage licenses and all of our titles onto digital so that we can get rid of all the microfilm and just have it all on the ArcaSearch site. And so that my staff can have access to it. Obviously, a lot of those are not public documents, but so that we can have access to it when we have to do duplicate titles and things like that, we have to pull up microfilm. So, and not that we can't do it, it's just time consuming. You have to pull the microfilm, then you have to roll it through to try to find it, I mean, it's quite a process, but hopefully when he gets my numbers back, maybe there'll be enough. Maybe I've asked for enough for the budget in order to do the rest of my land documents, and maybe there'll be enough to be able to do the microfilm too. So I don't know, but that'd be something into the future that I would like to have done. And then we can just be done with the microfilm. Yes, because they're a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions for Kayla on item 26? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 26.
I move that we approve item 26 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign, please. That motion carries. Item 27, present for approval, resolution 2023-016, a resolution regarding Boswell Road. Jennifer, please.
Commissioners, this is the resolution that is the culmination of all of the things that we've done with Boswell Road over the last couple of years. And the last meetings that we have had, the general discussion and consensus has been that given that there are no recorded easements through the private property pieces, Boswell Road is not a county road. There have been declarations where they've said they recognize it as a county road, but the steps to actually have it legally be considered a county road have never been taken. And throughout the course of these meetings with Rob and Jake and Commissioner Gosar and Commissioner Jones has had meetings, with residents, and you've all heard from Gary Williams and most recently Mr. Mars. So this resolution outlines the general history of what's gone on with Boswell Road, and then reflects that nothing has been recorded, that we've had complaints from property owners, and that after discussions with the Forest Service has clarified that they're unable to assist with relocating those portions of Boswell Road that are on private property that are causing issues for the landowners because of the recreational travel. And that after reviewing that history, that the board has come to the conclusion that Boswell Road has not previously been established legally as a county road, and that the board is not taking action to establish it as a county road at this time.
Commissioners, any questions?
No, I just hope that this will be the final.
Right.
end to this.
Rob, you don't have any thoughts about this one, do you, at all? You don't have to, but is it our sheriff?
The sheriff, a lot of what we've been going through, it's been we've worked on this for probably at least even before I was.
Like 20 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know it probably goes back to Mike and maybe even Brad.
It even goes back to 1964. And when I reread that environmental statement that was the Forest Service had done, in 1964, the Forest Service replaced the bridge that's on the Boswell Ranch piece of it that now former Governor Meade owns. And there were issues then about who owned the road and who was going to do it. And the Forest Service ended up replacing the bridge. But even as far back as 1964, there were issues with what are we doing with Boswell Road and what has been done with Boswell Road, and nothing's ever been done.
I think it serves the Forest Service better than it does us as far as, needs and things.
From a legal standpoint for the sheriff's office, that's a Forest Service road.
Right.
So I don't, even though we've used it as a county road, I don't have any jurisdiction over it. So it's literally a private land road usage issue between private landowners and the United States Forest Service.
Yeah, totally agree.
I just moving so you could see Sharon.
So Jennifer, parties involved will be receiving this resolution or a copy, a
Yeah.
letter informing them that this is not a county road and it has been declared now.
Mhm. I'm happy to reach out to, Mr. Williams is already aware because he calls me regularly. We've chatted.
Oh, I think he's watching tonight.
He probably is. So I did email him a copy this afternoon and said, I'll let you know if anything has changed, or if for some reason it's not approved. I will also send a copy to the Forest Service and Mr. Mars, and I can send it to the other private property owners also.
Jennifer, thank you for your work on this.
And I had a typo in the one I sent you,
Okay.
a B that should have been a Ben, but I fixed it for Kayla.
Okay. Any other questions for item 27? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 27.
I move that we approve item 27 as presented. Second?
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Sure.
After reflecting on the failed negotiations concerning the Boswell Springs Road, I believe this is exactly the outcome that the U.S. Forest Service wanted. I'm also very disappointed with the Medicine Bow Forest Ranger in the negotiations. And it actually appears to me that the Forest Service is actively working to lay the groundwork for a smooth transition for the rewilding of America and its sibling project, the 3030 project. And it's all under the umbrella of Agenda 21. I'm very unhappy with Forest Service.
All right. Well, I appreciate those sentiments. I think for me, county road, quasi-county road that went into Colorado by definition can't be a county road. We had no business up it and to take care of it. It had caused nothing but problems. And so I think it's time for the AB conversation to be had and see our way out of it, right? And so hopefully this will be that step that makes somebody or somebody's negotiate with each other. So any other comments, suggestions? I'd entertain, it's been moved in second.
You
All those
see
in
the-
favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Yay, Jennifer, thank you. Item 28, acknowledge letter of resignation from Mark Hungerford from the South Knoll Road Improvement District. That letter was in your packet. I don't know that I can help. But
I might speak to this, just,
Okay.
so Jennifer, Stacy and I had a meeting about South Knoll. Because we have our special district elections that come up in November. So we send a letter out to every special districts that have their elections, within that year, asking them if they want us to run their elections for them. We never received anything back from them. They do not even have a quorum right now. So I think is what we were going to do. I was hoping that they had advertised their proclamation and did everything they needed to do, and they have not. So we cannot run their election, obviously, because they did not do their due diligence. So I'm pretty sure at probably the next meeting, we're going to have to bring a resolution forward, you guys appointing members to the board and then making a decision as to whether or not they're going to dissolve their board, or are they going to get their act together and try to figure out what they want to do. So I'll work with Jennifer to bring a resolution forward. There are some people that are interested, so I will reach out to them and see if they would please come to the next meeting, and then we can go forward with figuring out what to do. There's some people on the board that I think I can reach out to that I could maybe ask, would you be willing to at least be on the board for now to get it back up and moving? Because as of right now, they're not in compliance. And I know Tracy's sitting on quite a bit of their money because she can't distribute it because they're not doing what they need to do on their side. So I will do
this in 2021.
Yeah.
They did not have
A full board.
functional board at the time. There were resignations and elections that hadn't happened. So we appointed, I believe, 3 members in 2021 so that they could get their budgeting stuff done for the state. So we did not have to dissolve the board.
Yes.
So we talked about they either will help themselves get their board up again, either to dissolve it or make it run. But if we have to come in front of you again because they haven't filed their budgets or haven't done anything at that point, we're thinking we've done far more work than they have with regard to their board. And
Well, they can't take any action right now with the board that they have.
They can't do
No.
anything.
Yeah.
no, they have 1 member, I believe, active on their board.
Wow.
So we can,
Their only option is for you guys to appoint
yeah.
members to their board as of right now. So we will bring that forward at the next meeting and we'll get that moving.
Kayla, did you hear from any of the other special districts as far as that have elections this year?
Oh, yeah, all of
Want
them.
you to assist?
Yeah, almost all of them have us run their elections for
Okay.
them. I believe they were the only one that did not. So, yeah. But
Yeah. Well, we've been having resignations from special districts left and right this year.
I know, and I fear it's going to get even harder now that they have to do training through the Department of Audit too, because that could really pose some issues with some of those boards too, because if they don't do their trainings, they can't be on the board, so.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
yeah,
There's that.
Well, I move that we acknowledge the letter of resignation for Mark Hungerford from the South Knoll Road.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 29, acknowledge letter of resignation from Maria Owen from the Albany County Commission Scholarship Committee. She had sent a letter and she's moving out of the county and could longer be on that board. Any thoughts or any additions to that? That's what I have.
This is the Albany County Commission. Well, we had another applicant the last time around who was very viable that we could reach out to.
Yep. All right, I'd entertain a motion for 29.
Second. I move that we acknowledge the letter of resignation for Maria Owen from the Albany County Commissioner Scholarship Committee.
There's-
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. That motion carries. 30, appoint a commissioner liaison to the Environmental Stewardship Committee with the city of Laramie. Kayla, could you explain that to us a little bit?
Well, I hope I can. So I was approached by Nancy Oakland Potter, the executive assistant, I think, to the city manager, wanting to know who the liaison was of the commissioners to this committee. I was quite confused at first because I thought we don't have this committee. It's a city committee is what it is. And it's so the environmental stewardship, she sent me their resolution, and it considers ways to expand and more fully integrate non-motorized transportation and public transit within the city and county multimodal system. And then that's what it is. So from my understanding, with the letter of support that you guys approved this evening, this board also helps with getting grants and things for like a bike, like the transportation that they're trying to do with that grant. At first, I thought they were talking about ACTA, because I had asked you about that, because we dissolved ACTA back in 2000 something, 20, 19 or 20. I thought that's what she was talking about, but that is not. So they evidently just want a liaison from you guys to also sit on that. And once I get a liaison, I just need to let Nancy know, and then they will set up their meetings or whatever. So I don't know if they just want county buy-in or what exactly.
Do you know at this point how often they meet?
She gave me nothing. So
Kayla sent it to me and
because I didn't know,
I don't know anything
I
about
didn't
this.
know what it was at first. I had no idea because she acted like we were supposed to have liaison. I'm like, we don't have that board. That's not a county. It's not a county board, and it's not one of the ones that are a combined board. So
Right.
I thought the best way to do it was to bring it to the board, because really, I feel like you guys as a board need to make a decision who you want to represent you guys at that committee, and then
if anyone.
and maybe you guys choose not to. I don't know. I mean, here it says that the people that are part of it are staff liaisons, project managers, chief operating officer, public works director, city engineer. So it doesn't say that the county has to be a part of it, so I'm not sure.
And it pertains to transportation within the city?
It's consider ways to expand and more fully integrate non-motorized transportation and public transit within the city and county multimodal system.
Oh, we've got lots of that.
So I'm maybe just as miffed as you guys are.
Actually, the brown squirrels do a better job.
So if you want me to, I'm happy to get more information and maybe ask Nancy
Would you get more information?
I
Because if
can.
it's every month. That
how
might be
often this
something.
is and what's the commitment.
Yeah,
Okay,
and kind of what they're hoping. It sounds like they just kind of want to keep us in the loop.
I kind of
since
hope,
it's in the
I don't
city.
really know if they want you guys to be like a voting member of their board. If it's, I don't know exactly what kind of decision.
Well, from what it sounds like who's on there, it would actually be, our county engineer would probably be the best liaison.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of, or planning or something,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
somebody more like that, but I don't know.
but they might go, no.
Yeah, and they might go no too. I mean, Rob would maybe.
Right, Rob's here.
You notice I didn't say you.
Why are you thinking, Kayla?
Rob's here so he can make sure he doesn't get it.
Rob's smart is what he is.
Now that Boswell Road's cleaned up, I think
Yeah,
Rob's got a lot of
really,
extra
all
time.
kinds of time. So I can reach out to
And those
Nancy.
blades will be on like that. You will have nothing to do, Rob.
Right?
Yeah,
Would you?
I
thank
will.
you,
I'll
Kayla.
reach
I
out to Nancy
appreciate
and
that.
just ask her to give me more information, and then I'll just
Yeah.
bring it back at the next meeting. And if she wants somebody, if she wants
I'm
a
sure we
decision
can
from
find a
us.
straight cat.
Yeah, well,
Well, or we can just, I mean, I don't know that it needs to be done in a public meeting. I guess now that all three of you know about it,
Right.
I don't know if maybe if somebody has an interest, I can tell all of you do.
yeah. I like to ride my bike, right?
Well, I was gonna say, I mean,
But,
I like to watch paint dry.
I know, so I'll ask her
Okay.
and just,
cool.
I'll
Let's-
just tell her that we didn't feel like
And
we
let's-
could, we
Yeah,
had
let's
all
put
the
it on
information.
the first October
Okay.
meeting.
Sounds
We'll-
good.
We'll make some sort of decision.
Okay,
And so table that one if that's all right with the commission.
Yeah, do we need to make a motion to table it?
or do we just
Jennifer?
not make, or do we just not?
Do
Take any
we need
action.
to make a motion to table that, or do we just,
Um,
we can?
it's an appoint, So I would make a motion to table it.
Can I get a
I
motion?
move that we table the appointment of a commissioner liaison to the Environmental Stewardship Committee with the city of Laramie.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 31, approve payroll and vouchers for September 2023. I'd entertain that motion.
I move that we approve payroll and vouchers for September 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Seeing no more business, the last summer Albany County Commission meeting, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Don't know what day that is in October.